Hello everyone, I am Anushka Dikshit, an application scientist with Advanced Cell Diagnostics. Today I'll be talking about a revolutionary in situ hybridization assay that allows for specific spatial mapping of gene expression in heterogeneous tissues like the tumors. For those of you who are not familiar with the RNAscope technology, we are an in situ hybridization platform that was specifically designed to overcome some of the traditional limitations of an ISH assay while still providing high specificity and sensitivity of detection. Our assay was specifically designed to provide specific detection of target gene expression in tissues and cells. Our state-of-the-art in situ hybridization technology is divided into three key features. Our target probe design strategy, where ACD will design a specific probe against the target gene of your interest. Our signal amplification system, which is specifically developed to amplify the signal and suppress the background, giving really high signal to noise ratio. And finally, our detection strategy, which allows for visualization of a single molecule of RNA as a punctate dot, both in a fluorescent and a chromogenic platform. Our assay allows for detection of mRNAs, long non-coding RNAs, short targets, homologous sequences, point mutations, and so on. This assay can be used in FFPE, fresh frozen, fixed frozen samples, PBMCs in cultured cells. Because of the flexibility of our assay, it has been widely applied in different application and research areas. Next, I want to talk to you about the two key features of this technology, something that sets this technology apart from some of the other assays that are out there, and that is the probe design strategy and the signal amplification system. As you can see here, we have depicted the RNAscope probes as a Z molecule, and this is mainly to highlight the three key features of the probe, which is the target binding site, where we design this complementary to the target sequence, the preamplifier binding region, which forms the basis or the foundation of our amplification tree, and the linker region, which connects these two parts. We design our ACD RNAscope probes such that two Z probes have to bind in tandem next to each other on your target sequence, and this Z pair forms the binding site for your preamplifier molecule. The preamplifier is then bound by the amplifier molecules, followed by which you have your chromogenic or fluorescently labeled probes bound on to the amplifier. Now, this particular strategy allows for detection of really low expressing targets, giving high sensitivity of detection. Additionally, we design the probes such that the preamplifier will not bind to a single Z molecule that is non-specifically bound to a sequence. Only when a tandem Z pair is bound next to each other will the preamplifier bind onto the Z pair. This ensures high specificity of detection. So these two combined strategies allows for high signal to noise ratio, giving you strong sensitivity and specificity of detection. Next, I want to talk to you about another set of assays under the RNAscope technology umbrella, which are the BaseScope assays, where we have our RNAscope assays mainly for targets over 300 nucleotides long. Our BaseScope assays are specifically designed for targets that are short, that are between 50 to 300 nucleotides in length. The probe design strategy between our RNAscope and BaseScope assays also differs a little bit. The probes that we design for our RNAscope assays are a pooled probe of 20 ZZ pairs, whereas our BaseScope assays are designed as pooled probes of 1 to 3 ZZ pairs since they bind to a shorter sequence on your target molecule. So the RNAscope assays are mainly for your targets like mRNA long non-coding RNAs greater than 300 nucleotides, and your BaseScope assays are mainly for exon junction, point mutation, and highly homologous sequence detection. This slide kind of details our broad assay portfolio, where you can see we have flexibility in plexing, where we have assays that are single plex or duplex, which detect one or two targets. Then we have our multiplex fluorescent assays that detect up to 3 or 4 targets. And then we have our RNAscope high-plex assay, which can detect up to 12 targets on the same sample. A lot of these assays are available both in manual and automated platforms. And as shown here, we have both chromogenic and fluorescent platforms available as well. Just recently, we launched our newest assay, which is called the microRNAscope assay. As the name suggests, this was specifically launched for short RNA targets that are up to 17 to 25 nucleotides long, which include your microRNAs, your antisense oligos, and siRNAs. For more information, do reach out to us, and we'll be happy to provide you any information you need. So coming back to the RNAscope technology, because we allow flexibility of sample selection, of plexing, and of detection platform, our assay has been widely used for a number of applications. And these include detection of non-coding RNAs, CDR3 regions on T cell receptors, splice variants, G protein coupled receptors for secreted proteins, to perform antibody validation, and so forth. And this has led us to be applicable in multiple different research areas, which include your basic science research, that include neuroscience, stem cell and developmental biology, infectious disease research, where we are leading assay in detection of emerging pathogens. Since we are a rapidly developing platform, we can design probes in less than 2 weeks for any novel sequence for emerging pathogenesis. Then we have been used extensively for biopharma discovery and development to validate and assess the specificity of certain cell and gene therapies and assess the safety and toxicity, and so forth. And finally, we have been used in cancer and clinical research to understand the tumor microenvironment, study the interactions of different cells present in the tumor microenvironment, and study the different markers involved in immuno-oncology research. So for the purpose of today's talk, I'll be focusing on the applications of RNAscope in tumor biology and immuno-oncology. So this slide depicts the multiple different applications of RNAscope in cancer research. As you can see, it has been widely applied to study tumor heterogeneity, to detect TCR sequences, identify long non-coding RNAs, characterize immune cells, detect splice variants, and for spatially mapping single-cell RNA sequencing data. So I'll go into detail into some of these applications by giving you a few examples for each of them. So let's start by understanding how RNAscope can be used for visualizing and studying tumor heterogeneity. So here's an example where the RNAscope red assay has been used to detect the PD-L1 mRNA in lung cancer tumors. And here we are comparing PD-L1 expression in 4 different lung cancer tumors. And as you can see, the PD-L1 expression differs dramatically based on which tumor you're looking at. This highlights the heterogeneous expression of this marker in this particular tumor. Similarly, PD-L1 not only exhibits inter-tumor heterogeneity, but it also exhibits intra-tumor heterogeneity, where here PD-L1 is depicted in green, where you see the green punctate dots, and the expression of this marker can vary dramatically based on which part of the tumor you are looking at. Wherein you can see that on this part of the tumor, along the stroma, the expression of PD-L1 is very high compared to this part of the tumor down below, where the expression is very low. So these subtle differences in the expression of such immune checkpoint markers can be the key in understanding therapeutic resistance in some of these malignancies. And our assay is sensitive enough to pick up on these differences of gene expression. Then our assay has been widely used and applied for detection of soluble factors like chemokines and cytokines, where because we are an assay that detects the mRNA of the target, we can identify which cells are actually producing these soluble factors. So here's an example where we are comparing two different tumor cores of lung cancer. And we have named this the hot core because it exhibits high expression of immune checkpoint and immune cell markers. Here we are looking at expression of CD8 and interferon gamma, which are your markers for cytotoxic T lymphocytes, and also for FOXP3 and CD4, which are markers for regulatory T cells. Now, expression of all of these lymphoid cell markers is significantly higher in this tumor compared to what we have labeled as the cold tumor. And similarly, if we compare the expression of certain myeloid cell markers, which are your M1 and M2 macrophage markers, we see that their expression is again much higher in this high inflammatory or hot core tumor compared to the cold core tumor. So this sort of indicates that with this technology, we can identify and visualize these soluble markers and establish which tumors have high inflammatory signature compared to others, which might provide some clues as to the therapeutic efficacy of some of these immune checkpoint inhibitors. So here's an example of how some of our customers have used us in determining tumor heterogeneity, where in this example, these researchers have used RNAscope to detect different Wnt ligands in this pancreatic ductal adenocarcinoma organoids, and this helped them establish which of these tumors are Wnt dependent and which are Wnt independent. And here they've compared the normal pancreas to Wnt independent and Wnt dependent tumors, and as you would expect, the expression of these Wnt ligands is significantly higher in the Wnt dependent tumors compared to the Wnt independent tumors. So there is this Wnt-based heterogeneity observed in the pancreatic tumors, and using our RNAscope assay, they were able to establish and visualize this heterogeneity in these organoid libraries. So next we're going to learn about another application where RNAscope has been used for characterizing immune cells and studying soluble factor expression. So in this particular application, we're going to learn about the dual RNAscope-ish IHC workflow, which allows for visualization of RNA and protein simultaneously on the same section. So the natural complementarity of the ISH and IHC techniques allows for combining these two techniques in one singular workflow, and that allows us to study both RNA and protein targets on the same section simultaneously. Now, this becomes especially important in immuno-oncology because we can use IHC to identify certain immune cells and then visualize target gene expression using ISH. And here's an example for the same, where we have used the RNAscope IF workflow to assess and interrogate the cervical cancer tumor microenvironment. So here we have used the CD3 antibody to identify T cells, which are marked in green, and then we are visualizing PD-L1, PD-1, and interferon gamma expression within the cervical cancer tumor. So in this zoomed image, you can really appreciate the single cell resolution afforded by RNAscope, where each punctate dot is your target of interest. And here marked in the yellow arrow is an interferon gamma CD3 positive potentially T cell, which is also expressing PD-1. And some of these cells that are negative for CD3 are your tumor cells interspersed with T cells in this tumor microenvironment. So it really helps you identify different subpopulation of immune cells and visualize the activation status of these immune cells by studying the expression of these chemokines and cytokines within them. So this dual-ish IHC or IF workflow can be really powerful in making these characterizations of immune cells and understanding the infiltration of immune cells in certain malignancies. And here's an example of how the same workflow has been applied on a chromogenic platform. So again, we have used our ISH IHC technique here, where we are looking at CD4 antibody in combination with TGF-beta and FOXP3 ISH. And here you can appreciate the strong stromal expression of CD4 positive T cells and the stromal expression of TGF-beta and FOXP3 in the stroma. So it also helps you study gene expression in different compartments of this tumors. So this can be a very powerful technique in understanding certain immune populations and studying gene expression within them. So here's an example of how Dr. Shi and his group used the ISH-IF technique to understand the role of LIF in pancreatic cancer progression. So this paper that was published in Nature used the duplex RNAscope assay to study the expression of keratin-19 and LIF in these pancreatic cancer samples, both in mouse and human. And everything that's marked by keratin-19 is obviously your tumor cells, and everything marked in red is your soluble LIF factor. So if you look closely, you can appreciate that the LIF is predominantly expressed in the stroma of these tumors when you compare the expression of keratin-19 to LIF. So LIF is a soluble factor predominantly expressed in the stromal cells. So how is LIF actually exerting its effect on tumor progression? So upon further analysis and some more RNAscope analysis, they were able to establish that LIF is expressed in the stellate cells in the stroma and exerts its effect in a paracrine fashion on the keratin-19 tumor cells and assists in tumor progression. And here they have used the ISH-IF workflow where they've used the keratin-19 antibody in combination with PTPRC and LIF RNAscope probes. So this indicates PTPRC, which is CD45, and LIF are co-localizing in the stroma, and keratin-19 obviously marks the tumor cells, again showing that LIF potentiates tumor growth via a paracrine action. And some further analysis also revealed that LIF indeed does promote tumor growth because it correlates to poor disease-free survival in patients. So this is how this dual ISH-IF workflow can be used successfully to identify role of certain soluble factors in tumor progression. So another very interesting application of the RNAscope technology is detection of the specific T cell clones using the BaseScope assay. The BaseScope assay, as I mentioned, is for targets that are really short, between 50 to 300 nucleotides. And one of these targets are the CDR3 regions on your T cell receptors. Now, these are unique regions that are unique to subpopulations of T cells. And in the current environment where we see a lot of engineered T cell therapies being developed, identifying these CDR3 regions on T cell is extremely vital. So using our BaseScope assay, we can identify specific subpopulation of T cells. And here is an excellent example wherein this particular paper published by Dr. Balko's lab from Vanderbilt used our BaseScope assay to identify a specific subpopulation of T cells in this patient sample. So in this particular example, a patient was being treated for melanoma by using the anti-PD-1 therapy. And unfortunately, this patient developed severe adverse events to this immunotherapy, which caused encephalitis, which was ultimately fatal. So this group really wanted to understand which cells induced or triggered this encephalitis. And for that reason, they performed TCR sequencing and identified the sequence in the brain encephalitis tissue. And by using the BaseScope assay, they were able to design specific probes against this sequence and co-localize those T cell receptors in this encephalitis tissue. And what they were able to see was that this particular TCR co-localized with CD4 positive T cells and not with CD8 positive T cells, which helped them to understand that this particular population that induced encephalitis was actually a memory CD4 positive T cell population. So by using BaseScope assay, they were able to validate and visualize this cell population in the patient tissue sample. Next, I'm going to give you an example of how the RNAscope technology is being used to understand the safety and efficacy of engineered immune cells. So here's an example where we did a project with Bluebird Bio, where we used the RNAscope technology to assess the preclinical safety and activity of their developing CAR-T therapy. So using the RNAscope technology, we designed a specific probe against the 3' UTR of their CAR vector, which allowed us to visualize these CAR-T cells in situ. They were developing CAR-T cell therapy for the anti-BCMA and anti-ROR1 antigens and used RNAscope to study the efficacy of these CAR-T therapies. So here's an example where they used RNAscope to visualize the anti-BCMA positive CAR-T cells in the mouse xenograft model. On your right hand side, you can see a panel of BCMA positive cells in the tumors, and on the left hand side we see staining for granzyme B and your CAR UTR using the ISH probe. So in tumors that are positive for BCMA, like this xenograft tumors, we can see strong positive staining for the CAR-T cells and strong staining for granzyme B, showing that in the presence of the antigen, these CAR-T cells present in the xenograft are also engaging, indicated by strong granzyme staining. So indicating that this anti-BCMA CAR-T therapy was clearly successful since it's engaging in presence of the antigen. Now, from the same study, by using our multiplex assay, we were able to visualize 4 targets simultaneously, where we have visualized the CD3 protein in white and then visualized the granzyme B, CAR-3' UTR, and interferon gamma using RNAscope. So this again shows that with CD3-IF, we were able to identify all T cells. With 3' UTR CAR probe, we were able to identify specifically the CAR T cells, and then the activation and engagement was visualized by the granzyme B and interferon gamma probes. So a multiplex assay really helps simultaneous visualization of multiple markers, giving you more information from less sample. Next, I want to talk to you about another very special application of RNAscope, which is to validate and spatially map single-cell RNA sequencing data. So single-cell RNA sequencing has come up as a very significant technique in assessing heterogeneous tissues like tumors. It helps us understand single-cell specific expression of these multiple heterogeneous cells in different tumors. And while it provides a specific single-cell information, what we do not get is the spatial and morphological context that is lost in this particular technique. So a lot of our researchers perform single-cell RNA sequencing, get the single-cell specific information, and then validate this information using the RNAscope assay. This provides validation as well as helps them understand or spatially map their target genes and cell populations in a tissue context. An example of how that has been used. So in this particular example, this group from Harvard and MIT used the RNAscope assay to validate single-cell RNA sequencing for this glioblastoma research. So after performing single-cell RNA sequencing, they were able to identify 4 different subpopulations or cellular states of glioblastoma cells, each of which was characterized by a specific parameters of gene expression markers. What they realized was each of these cellular states had a specific marker that it expressed. Now, when they decided to validate and visualize these different cellular states in situ, they used a combination of these markers and used the RNAscope duplex assay to visualize these cellular states. Interestingly, what they observed was some of these glioblastoma cells expressed 2 or more than 2 of these markers, indicating that some cells do not exist as a single cellular state, but exist as a hybrid state, exhibiting characteristics of more than one cellular state in these glioblastoma cells. So that was a very exciting finding and will potentially help us understand the disease better and develop therapeutic strategies to combat this deadly malignancy. Next, I'm going to talk to you about our BaseScope assay and how it has been successfully used in identifying splice variants which can be significant in oncology research. Now here's an example of how one of our customers used our BaseScope assay to identify the delta 16 HER2 splice variants in breast cancer and some of the other cancer types. So they used a probe design strategy wherein they designed a probe spanning the exon sequence exon 15 and 17. Now a probe spanning exon 15 and 17 would specifically identify a HER2 that has the exon 16 deletion. Now they also designed a probe that spanned exon 15 and 16, which would pick up your wild type HER2, and then a probe that spanned exon 17 and 18, which would pick up both your wild type and your HER2 splice variant. So they used the BaseScope assay to identify patients that were positive for the delta 16 HER2 splice variants so that they can stratify them for Herceptin therapy. Herceptin therapy is known to be extremely useful for individuals who are positive for the delta 16 HER2 splice variant. So using the BaseScope strategy, they were able to identify patients with this splice variants and then also visualize the wild type HER2 protein, the HER2 mRNA within these patients. Interestingly, when they used the RNAscope technique, they were not able to distinguish between the splice variant and the wild type HER2. But with our BaseScope assay, they were able to pick up samples that were positive for the splice variant and stratify them for Herceptin treatment. Finally, I want to talk to you about an interesting collaboration between ACD and nanostring technologies, where RNAscope is now a part of the GeoMx DSP workflow for their RNA assays. So this workflow is available in both manual and automated platforms. And here's an example of how you can use the automated platform to perform RNAscope for ROI selection, followed by which you will perform the GeoMx DSP. So RNAscope is used as a molecular guide to target specific areas within a heterogeneous tissue like tumor, which is then further analyzed with the GeoMx DSP. So this allows specific selection of certain areas within the tissue and targeted analysis of just those regions by the GeoMx DSP. This is then profiled, gene expression is quantified, and also analyzed to study and understand different pathways important in oncology and immuno-oncology. In the joint workflow, you would select specific RNAscope targets to be your molecular guides and use RNAscope probes to identify these regions on tumors, followed by which you would use your targeted panel to perform GeoMx DSP and profile high throughput RNA expression on those specific regions of interest. After data analysis, if a few key targets need to be validated or visualized in situ, then you can perform RNAscope assay as a validation tool on a serial section and visualize these targets with morphological context. For more information on about our joint workflow, please visit our website or reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to give you more information. Finally, our RNAscope assay has been widely applied in different research areas and has been adopted really well over the last few years. We have over 2,700 publications as of last month, and we are only growing. We have been used in different research and application areas, with cancer and neuroscience being our top areas of publication. Finally, to learn more about our technology in oncology and immuno-oncology research, please visit our websites for literature and resources. To learn more about our joint workflow with GeoMx DSP, please visit our website and look at this white paper, which details the workflow further. With that, please reach out to us with any questions we have our pharma assay services and academic assay services that cater to pharma and academic customers, where we will perform the RNAscope experiments for you in-house in the current environment, where it can be very difficult for some of you to go back to your labs to continue your research. So with that, I welcome any questions. Thank you.